Since you went through describing the system, the second page, item 5, was review of financial budget documents. Is there anything here that you want to make note of or discuss? It'll be on the second page.
The only two would be A and B. I don't know if we kind of hit on that during our overall discussion. So I think we already decided, well, Aaron and I will get some information on how to prepare our budget.
So nothing on system development fund to discuss.
Other than no, not really. System development fund would be for the Avalon pump station project. That's where all that will come out of.
What's the next development after that then? Or do we have one?
We don't have one as far as for the district to build.
Right.
Yeah.
I once again got approached by Radar Road people. Some of them want it and some of them absolutely don't want anything to do with it.
Right.
And I told them, we have no plans. And
Which you're talking about which?
Radar Road.
An expansion to would involve, if the hotels ever come back, that would also.
Oh, right.
But right now, as far as I know, those are dead.
Well, you know
Yeah,
what?
they
I
are
would
currently.
actually recommend, if we don't have a next, that we should put a placeholder there for that. Those properties will not stay undeveloped.
Right.
We are so, I don't know, lucky is the right word, but it is amazing that you know, those both have gone to actual proposals by people that didn't put the right amount of thought into them.
Mhm.
But Fusion's told me point blank, they will be coming back to develop that property. And the point will get purchased by somebody.
Up on House of the Hill.
Yeah, and it won't be somebody's mansion.
What about the cabin?
Yeah, no, that's definitely coming back. They will come back. That's more certain or more definite, I think, because the people that own it have no plans to sell it. They're going to develop it. I've talked to them personally about that. The House on the Hill's on the market again, but it will sell at some point. That's just too beautiful a property. It's already got sewer. It's already got, you know, it doesn't, it can be built on.
I'd love to see the new geological comments about, you know, there was a slide on the other side of the mountain.
Yeah, I saw that.
You're talking about Short Beach
Yeah.
where it slid some.
But that's not Maxwell Point. That's down the beach ways.
It's still the same.
Oh, no, it's right there.
It's the same geology. No, the new slide, you're right, is not right. It's not Maxwell Point.
No,
It was over next to Short Beach.
right, exactly.
Yeah, it's on,
But it's the same basic rock formation stuff.
But I mean, those are new big slides. That's what
Yeah.
he was talking about. There have been no big new slides on
Maxwell
Point
Point.
Beach or Maxwell Point. Yeah. So on that, you know, they did redo geological studies in this last round for development. So I mean, it's pretty stable actually. I mean,
Pieces of it peel off every few years.
I said it's getting more valuable per square foot because there are fewer square feet every year.
Yeah.
But they, you know, they're not going to wouldn't let them put a hotel up there if there was a danger. You know, there's geologically that thing is on a schedule to wear away
Yeah.
that they can predict.
Yeah.
And it's like 100-year schedule. So
Yeah.
okay, I'm sorry.
So on those two properties, those would come out of system development charge if it requires us to expand the sewer system to take it. So budgeting goes, that's where that come out of. So you don't have to like budget it in your general fund or your annual budget.
Okay.
I would make mention of it since we've only got just Avalon and we're already doing it, just looking forward, I can't see another area that's more likely than those to require it. And there, nobody's gonna buy on those and build the same number of units as they have now. There's gonna be more.
So when I talked to, engineer Jim on Avalon, tomorrow we're doing the wetland study.
Oh.
Down there. You have them give me a ballpark what we should budget for if we have to look at these two, because they've already kind of looked at them already. But we should budget for their work on expansion of that pump
I
station.
think it would be prudent, given we have had actual development proposals that just didn't pan out.
It's not an expenditure that you have to do it, but if you don't budget for it, you
Right.
don't put a line item like you're saying, then you have nowhere to take it out of.
Yeah, I agree. It's a matter of time. Personally, I'd like to see a park up on Maxwell Point, but we would need a major benefactor.
Or an incorporated city with $400,000 a year coming in.
Next.
All right,
What about the debt service? Do we, anything to say about that?
Are we paying off a bond this year?
Can't remember if it's this year or 2026, I think.
I mean, it's next year. One of the-
26 or 27 soon. One of it is,
I thought
yeah.
it was this year.
Do you know what the payment is on it?
I can go grab it.
That's a good question. I just thought, we'll get more money to play with, more money to stick into capital reserve.
No, that
Yeah.
pays off. It just lowers your property tax.
That's probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a geo bond. So your costs will go down.
Okay, well, we want to publicize that big time as part of outreach, so
Mhm.
not just bad news, but good news.
Yeah, we occasionally, it hasn't been a while, but we occasionally have people call and ask in what years do all of them get paid.
okay, we've kind of already talked district projects. Between the pump station and the hotels.
And Avalon.
So, do you ever hear any more about whether any of the lots are being sold in our newest subdivision across from the Capes?
No, I do know that the one that we purchased the 2 lots from and got the easement through 4 other lots, they now own the lot. They bought the lot.
Well,
I was talking about Cougar Ridge.
Cougar Ridge.
Yeah,
Cougar Ridge is the only one that's got 2 sewer availability letter requests. The guy that put it in.
I think he actually has, I can't remember, sorry, he has 2 or 3 building permits.
He does have building permits.
Yeah, Bill Hughes does too, I think. But we just got in just
I
recently.
know I signed 3 of us.
Okay, so I can't remember if it's 2 or 3, but yeah, so Bill Hughes himself is starting to.
He's gonna build that.
He had always planned to do that.
And then we had one other lady who was going to, but then she backed out of it.
And because that's uphill,
so
it's pretty simple. That just flows down to the main pump station from there.
All but 3 of the lots, two of the lots on the ejector pump. Because they're just below grade enough, they can't get to the soil.
So they got to go up over a little hill.
Yeah, they just have to just pump up a small elevation.
But the rest of them, I think,
Yeah,
are.
I think basically it would be 3 or 4 feet up, not length, just vertically. So the pump it'll be a small ejector.
But the rest of the lots are probably up here.
They're all rest, so that are developed now. So
And that's like 60 in terms of numbers.
the ones that have the sewer system in will go into the lower manhole.
Okay.
And then the other lots, once he develops those, will go down Grand.
And they laid sewer lines are already up there or?
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought so.
through a great deal of pain.
That's 2 years of my life I'll never get back.
So we don't know, we won't, whether those several building permits are probably going to be spec or whether somebody actually is.
I talked with him in person about it. He was gonna build 12 houses there on the spec.
Is he?
Yeah, when I last talked to him, we only had one person that was actually had already bought and was ready to build.
She backed out.
Yeah.
I think she's gonna plan on moving forward at some point, but as of right now, we didn't. And they have several new street names. Getting creative.
Then you said on Avalon, there was, you said something about the lots there? Or,
Well, we're still gonna have to acquire easements. One person that did respond, she wanted a proposal to purchase property through her lot to allow sewer system in. I'm not apt to pay. The project we're funding ourselves. And if we have to pay for sewer easements, then it's not worth doing. To better their property, to make their property worth more, because right now none of those properties are even buildable because there's no sewer. So I'm sure there'll be some negotiation to explain that to these property owners. She gave me a verbal for the engineers to go there tomorrow to do the wetland study. But then she still followed up with an email before she gives her permission. Now she wants these 3 questions answered. And one of it was a proposal from the district for purchase of her property. And I think she meant purchasing the district, is what I'm assuming.
It's a lot.
Because she was kind of excited at first because she thought, well, if it's a wetland, I can't sell my property. So, and we are offering the property owners a copy of the wetland study that they can have. But this is the only one that's contacted us back. There's like 2 or 3 other owners that own several lots down there. The ones that are currently on the Hillsdale portion, they're on injector lines. They're all, yes, come because they all want to switch over from the injector pumps to gravity. So a good portion of them. Pretty excited about it.
Everybody's saying
Yes.
good, except for that one.
Except for the one.
is that lot low, close to the
It's closer.
proposed pump station?
It's
So would
the
it,
fifth or sixth lot up for the same size of the station.
okay, and how many lots are above that?
Oh, there's another 6 or 6, 7, something like that. Well, 7 if you count the county. But we're not gonna have to put a sewer line.
It is kind of a little swale there. Is that, you think, gonna be a designated wetland?
That's gonna be determined by the vegetation. I say no,
Yeah,
but because it's historically, they show on the geotech map where that's a runoff area.
yeah.
But it's gonna be if the water sits and how long the water collects and sits there.
And it's sand.
And
Yeah.
it's sand. It's-
So
So the water,
it's different than
Yeah.
mud.
Yeah.
Which we should know in a couple of weeks after they get done.
all right,
Study tomorrow.
Yeah.
But they do have enough permissions to continue with that to get as far as they need to. They don't have to go all the way up towards the highway to all those properties because they're outside that wetland designated area. It's just basically, like you said, it's down that swale area.
and the properties where we're gonna put the pump station, are they part of the wetland designated area, or are they outside of that?
At this point, I think they're outside, but until this study is done, I can't be 100% sure.
Okay.
It's just mainly those middle lots, and we already have permission from all so where the swell comes down,
Yeah,
all the lots that houses on them on this side,
yeah,
where the property lines meet, we all have permission, so we can go through there and do the wetland study. The ones we don't have on this side of those properties, it's still in the same swale.
yeah.
Can I suggest, this is kind of like board meeting stuff?
Yeah.
We're kind of wasting workshop
All right,
time. If we wanted, we might get some of Jim's other issues.
yeah,
Okay,
So
cool.
all right. See, do you want to talk about the facility plan update at all?
So, I don't know what the board's thinking, but I kind of envisioning the facility plan. We'll do that in 2026, and reason being, that will get Avalon upfront on the facility plan.
Mhm.
And possibly, from what Jerry said, maybe something to do with one of the hotels.
And is that something West Tech will do for us?
Yeah. Yeah, they'll update the facility plan with what projects they have, and then they'll meet with us to find out what else we want to prioritize.
And so we'd probably see that towards the end of 2026.
I'm thinking mid 2026 is what I'm kind of envisioning at this point, probably the beginning, July, August of our 2026-7 budget year.
Okay.
I think if we try to do it any sooner, we're not gonna have enough information to get it really updated, to get us out at least 5 more years.
So you said that by this September, we need to have some kind of a maintenance plan.
No, according to our permit, we have to have, well, yes, for iodine reduction, yes, you're right.
And in your mind, how does that relate to the facility planning?
That will relate in where we schedule in repairs to any of our piping or pump station.
Okay.
So we'll give information that we have found to West Tech, and they will look at what line segments may have to look at when to upgrade and when to change, when to repair, replace them. Because we have to look at more than iodine. We have to look at hydrogen sulfide damage. There's several things that we have to look at that can cause a line segment to have to be replaced.
That we haven't looked at before.
No, but we know of a couple places that we need to go back in with the camera equipment and get some good data on there.
And how does that affect our upcoming budget planning?
I don't think it's going to affect what we already have planned for inflow and infiltration this next fiscal year.
Okay.
That's why I said 2026. We'll look at it again with the engineers. They'll look at some of the information we have that we've collected for the collection system for the piping, and then they'll make a determination that we should probably move this up sooner and move something else out to the later.
So you've been telling us for a year or two that we need to start budgeting for equipment failure, essentially. Does that mean setting aside more money in some categories? Or
Increasing some categories.
yeah, okay,
I wouldn't say really setting it, so that is setting it aside, but
yeah,
we may have to look at some of our line items to increase those over what we have now. Now, the damage that just happened, which is something you budget for, but you don't.
yeah,
We already had $200,000 for emergency repairs. This one's catastrophic because one pump's $155,000.
right.
Generally, you don't see that kind of emergency repair all at once.
Mhm.
So I just need to reevaluate maybe what the board's input to, if we should not do a knee-jerk reaction and try to increase that emergency line item, because this is not common.
Right.
But it might be reversed back to your original.
Yeah, once we figure out how to do that and not make the auditor mad, yes. So that's why I'm saying we need to get hold of it so we can just change up our budget a little bit to give us more flexibility in the budget. Doesn't mean user rate increases or something like that, but give us more flexibility with the money we have.
Yeah, I was just trying to get my mind around how these various different planning efforts affect thinking about where to put money in the budget.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get my mind around.
And I'm watching wheels turn over here too, because at some point the discussion is going to turn to, are those components of another rate increase?
So I don't know if it's now a time to talk about it or the board meeting. I already spoke to John some about it, which you've probably seen in correspondence, all the tariffs. They're taking effect, and it's going to affect our operating budget for this next year and most likely user rates. But the way it's so volatile, any quotes we get will not be guaranteed.
Yeah, I saw that language on some of these quotes.
Yeah, yeah. So I just wanted the board to see what we're receiving, because right now it's so volatile, they don't even know what to do. We already did some foundry orders with our manhole, rise and raise manholes, things like that. We already purchased those for the next, what I would assume a couple of years, unless the county has a big road repair they're gonna do, which I don't see anything like that on the horizon. But we did some purchasing. The tariffs are a big question. I just don't want to overreact with ratepayers' money and then it not come out. But I'm getting too many of our suppliers telling us with the same caveat on the bottom. The one I just got for putting the new generator in, if except subject to any type of tariff changes. So
Well, without the tariffs, my sense was probably we're kind of baked in the cake inflation wise, although that's staying pretty under control this last year. So when you say it's going to affect them, I'm assuming the effect is we might have an increase greater than we otherwise would have had, or is it we might have an increase where maybe we would have done without one?
well, we're gonna have an increase. I'm gonna go by the city and tell them I just got my increase for sewer and water, and it's 15%. 2 steps. Same thing with their water. So they're already planning that this is gonna hit those infrastructures pretty hard.
We've been doing 7-8%.
Yeah.
So was that going to continue without the tariffs, or?
Yeah, I was still around between 6 and 7, a few months ago. Now, with the cost increases that we're seeing, gas is coming down, fuel is coming down. I'm not gonna worry about groceries, but fuel is coming down. But everything else is going up because everything comes from other countries. Steel, aluminum, components from overseas. One big one that could get hit. We use flight pumps, are made in Sweden. So far, Sweden's not hit with a tariff, but they're going to be. So we got this pump ordered 18 weeks out, but we got that ordered in before any tariffs go into effect. 25% increase on a.
But it already still had that paragraph that said it could be affected.
That is saying when I talked to them, the order's been put in already. Now,
So how does that work? I mean, it's not on the ship yet. It's been ordered,
it's been ordered
but
and we don't pay for it till it gets to the US.
Tariffs don't take effect except date of purchase.
their date of purchase.
That's what they're telling
That's the
me.
general rule.
Exactly what Jerry just said is what they told me to. State of purchase.
The one thing about the 15% until much, they're so behind on their infrastructure. That's different than us. Just saying.
Well,
And the other thing that's gonna increase in price is electricity.
they are way behind compared to us. The DEQ is raising that for everybody in this planning period, in this permit period. So we've been spending $40,000 to $50,000, about $40,000 a year, 45 on our I&I reduction. That's probably gonna have to go to 60. Just because of the requirements, they now want to see more. They're no longer giving you credit for keeping, cleaning and maintaining and inspecting. You now have to do actual physical repair. So you're gonna have to increase the budget to cover that. And then the other item is we have to do something with the budget now that our water rates have changed. Substantially changed.
So Jerry, we should work on drafting the letter about rate increases early, so that we can actually get some of this stuff in. Because last year we got to the end of the process and had to just sort of roll over the year before a letter. And
Last year I rewrote the letter. It's the year before that we just kind of.
okay,
This last year was a little more tailored. And I'm going to do it again, but I'm just saying,
yeah,
you're probably remembering 2 years ago.
okay, sorry.
But I'm thinking you're gonna have to really look at 10+%.
And
I don't see it.
and this will let my politics show that I'm all for naming where the money's going.
And I'm fine with that. I mean, between the wear and tear,
Yeah.
you know, the aging equipment.
Yeah.
Cost to repair this equipment.
Yeah.
Just in the last 5 years, it's double the cost to rebuild a sewer pump.
Yeah.
I mean, what 2,500, 3,000 used to be it. Now it's 6,000 to 8,000, depending on which pump it is. So.
Yeah.
And we haven't increased the user rates to keep up with even that time.
Yeah. But you know, if the cost of manholes is going up because we're spending more for metal.
We're gonna be doing a lot of rehabbing. A lot of rehab.
Yeah.
The only new stuff we'll buy will be Avalon project.
Yeah.
When we put the manholes in down there.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Most of that's PVC, but you still have concrete and steel.
Yeah.
For the manhole lids and that type of stuff.
Mentioned electricity, I talked with the PUD, they're saying 7 to 9% is what they're building in rate increase.
Which that'd be huge for us.
Well, Bonneville may get affected by all this
Like, oh,
with
okay,
the
in addition, they already,
relationship that
Yeah.
our
they already
president
increased
has
their rates.
with
At $7,000 a month that we pay out, average, it's more than that sometimes, but it's less. But if you take an average of about $7,000 a month, and what Jerry just said, it's 8-9% increase.
It's a lot of money.
So I'm saying there's no way you're gonna get away from that 8% sewer rating.
Yeah.
So this rate increase stuff we're gonna be talking about that for budget stuff, right? So can we keep moving here? Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So, I guess we're coming towards the end of this list, but how about we go back to some of the things Jim talked about and maybe dig into that a little more, unless,
You gonna- John, are you gonna skip this reporter growth potential and whatever?
well, let's talk about those. There's not much.
What you got?
Well, you've talked to people on Radar Road, and they have been honest, you know, other than just Elkie, with everything, other ones asking, and you're right, we also get the ones that are completely opposed to it.
Yeah, my understanding of their situation is that many of their septic systems are to the end of their useful life.
Yeah.
And they have to get new permits for new ones. And a lot of their lots are too small to meet current requirements. So they're gonna have to, I don't know what kind of things they can do.
That's what Elkie talked to me about.
Like, I don't know what they can do about that because we're not gonna put the sewer out there. And this county, and it's not county requirements, it's state land use requirements.
Well, I was more going on district border growth. I don't know if you can just go along the road, not bring in everybody property all the way to Radar Road, or can you make just that area Radar Road district boundary and then a gap coming back to where it drops back into our, or
But connected.
yeah, or do you have to go and move your boundaries and encompass everybody?
Isn't that a West Tech?
Well, no, that's a political, this is
Land use thing.
yeah.
And finances.
Yeah, and it has to do with what the district can take in. I know we can take in Radar Road.
Yeah, there's only 17 houses.
Yeah, and there's not much homes between that and there. They'll still require a pump station. You're still looking at a $3 million price tag.
Yeah.
Okay, to get it to here.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me that if we're putting a pump station at Radar Road, just hypothetically, we should serve everyone between us and there.
It's probably 5 houses and the water district.
But I know there's some homeowners that live just outside of our district, right there close.
Yeah.
They don't want to be in the sewer district at all. So it really isn't, I mean, it's a political thing as well as whatever.
So if we drew a boundary around a house that currently has their own septic system, are they required to hook up to the sewers?
Once they're inside district boundaries, and that's why I don't know if there's a gap.
Yeah.
But inside district boundaries, they have to hook up. They're not allowed to have septic systems or anything like that.
And that will be an issue that develops as their septic tanks start failing. And it's gonna have to be a demand pull. I don't think we're gonna go out and demand that we be part of that. That's a big cost.
So we draw the boundary around those properties.
Well,
Now, the boundary's way this far.
But it is
So,
right now.
Yeah, so when I'm saying we don't unless they're gonna be the ones to generate the pressure for it.
I just don't know if you can section it off, like this part of the district boundary is just in this little island looking area. And everybody else is not.
So
I
the
would
district
predict-
boundary is as wide as the pipe
I would think that.
down to Radar
That's
Road.
That's not ridiculous. That is easily looking at.
Yeah, so can it just follow roadway and then
Yeah.
encompass that area?
And then
I
as
don't know.
people's septic systems fail, we
But it
just
needs
draw a little
radar.
line around the new, if they want to hook up.
No, I think that there will have to be enough pressure that we do the all or nothing. There's not gonna,
And
Okay,
that's why it needs to stay in the facility.
Yeah.
It is still a potential.
it's impossible, but really it'd be because they demand it, because they're getting told that they can't sell their houses to anybody else. They can't keep living in them.
so if hypothetically, again, if we got to a point where we said, okay, we're gonna add Radar Road, it's a $3 million project. Is that a bond? How do we finance something
Well,
like that?
that's the next step.
But that's why they need to come to us.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna
It's
absorb a bunch
usually
of it.
borne by the developer. Now, we do have system development charges that are for expanding. But we're not gonna have enough in there to expand and build one or two more pump stations and put in the force mains, the gravity lines and all that. So,
Because it's not like it's a new development.
well, that has nothing to do with it. It's still considered a development.
Yeah.
Because you're adding a utility to it.
But $3 million amongst 20 houses. I don't,
They would, we don't need to be sidetracked on this, but there are grants available. There
Yeah.
are places they can go.
That's why Avalon has been undeveloped for this.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different owners, it's not a development.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, technology might take care of it. There might be a new septic tank technology.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's kind of.
So I already know of one type of system,
Yeah.
but well, I'm not gonna get into that now.
Okay, so. I've got written down that the other issues were staff recruitment, community outreach, needs work, and something illegible.
succession planning.
Starting with planned obsolescence, I think, and I don't know whether we beat that to death.
I thought those two were included in what we already talked about. Let's talk to.
All right. So staff recruitment. I'll turn it over to you, Jim. I want to talk a little further on that.
Well, I was just thinking, they have this technology. Classes for forestry, I think fisheries. And dairy farms. The community college is trying to work, create. Keeps students from leaving town after they graduate high school. Anyway. I don't know how many operators there are in the county.
So
Um,
the community college in town, they did have a wastewater program that they offered. They didn't get enough participation in it, and so they did away with it.
but they did offer it.
What was that, 2-3 years ago?
I think it's been a lot longer than that.
Maybe longer than that. And
They didn't offer it when I started.
the problem is, you've seen us try to hire to fill a position for a year.
Mhm.
So that should tell you what kind of participation that the college is gonna get, which is probably none.
Well, I know, but what we were doing with the ad in the paper wasn't really working. And so I'm just trying to think, how do we expand, modify, like, do you send, do you get them when they're a sophomore in high school? No, and because there's, there's science, there's, okay, it's a very interesting job. This one, I think, is that maybe people don't realize how, how to use their skills.
I'm gonna plagiarize something off Jerry here. This is not a romantic job. And so it doesn't attract, they'd rather be firemen. They would rather be anything but a wastewater operator. And with the water industry, treatment is having the same problem. This type of utilities does not attract a younger generation. It just doesn't.
Are there any state vocational programs or networks or?
Even preferred worker program is having trouble finding people that are interested in their worker program. And
Is there-
granted, a lot of them are just looking for a settlement and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
But let's start thinking about what would work.
Well, got some ideas? I don't have any. I was asking about state networks.
Well, one of them would be more of a, YouTube /
social media
Social
might be an
media.
idea.
I mean, I don't know,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
ask me about it because but I know that's where you keep hearing about it. So.
Is there a
that's an
community
idea.
college right now that has a wastewater program in the state? Where does somebody go to get trained? Right?
Jamaica, right?
Clackamas was your biggest one in the state for a long time, and then they did away with it when they didn't get
PCC,
enough participation.
Portland Community College has
PCC
it.
has one.
Yeah, and
They have
but
one.
I had to enroll in it when I went through my training with the VA.
PCC's program.
but in the last 10 years, it's declined. A lot of these colleges got rid of the training programs. Lynn Benton might be a resource to look at because they do wastewater training. They do have classes if you want to like come out and into management or something. But I went to Lynn Benton for some training too, but they're just, all these colleges, what I'm getting is they're not getting participation. People are just not migrating to this field.
Yeah.
And there's a shortage in the state.
Yeah, there's a.
Yeah, I mean, so
But even if you talk to a program, they're not gonna come here because they can't find housing.
where I was going
Yeah.
was
Mhm.
that there's partnership programs that happen in higher education.
Like internships or.
Well, it's what I was imagining, a partnership between us and maybe some other sewer districts in Tillamook County, Tillamook High School, and Lynn Benton or PCC, so that we name a program, we have a little brochure, we have a website, we make it look sexy.
Do a YouTube video here.
Okay. Here goes
And
We got a great view.
and the program basically is, we recruit high school students,
The internship.
they intern, they have a college that they know they go to for 2 years or whatever it is, and there's a job at the end of it, and it's a partnership, and there's funding for partnerships because people like to fund partnerships between lots of different organizations. It's not just one entity that's trying to come up with something that might work.
So you're talking about a partnership where you get grant money to do internships of people?
But yeah, you're basically recruiting high school students and giving them a path to a job
Yeah.
through a number of different
The
organizations.
reason it's never worked here is because usually an internship means that you have to budget for it. The ratepayers have to pay
Yeah.
to intern something that you won't get any benefit out, like a new hire or something.
We can see talk to like PUD, like Aaron just said, they have a huge program, even back when we were still in high school.
Yeah,
But they have a grant program too that goes with it, and that means that your ratepayers have to pay for it.
And they get one every year, they get a new one, so it's
And
not
we're
like
not
this
big enough to
person
take
stay.
an employee every single year.
Nor to budget that and justify it to the ratepayers that live out here that pay the bill, that you're gonna be training for somebody to go somewhere else.
So this goes back to Jim's first observation, is that we're not the only little sewer district.
Right.
So the partnership I was dreaming up, it's you look at in a 5-year period, how many jobs in wastewater treatment are in Tillamook County, whole county. And then you get every sewer district in the county to partner with this internship / pipeline from high school to training program to a job, not necessarily here, but in the county. So it's again, you're trying to keep people in Tillamook County getting jobs in Tillamook County. I don't,
It's
blue sky. But
it is, because everybody, all those programs presumably contribute something to that program, but they might not get an employee for 10 years.
And you're also looking
for
looking for grant funding to drive the thing, because
Well,
rather than taking out of ratepayers' pockets.
in today's environment.
Yeah.
Well, that in Tillamook
And-
County, you don't see a lot of these positions coming open.
I try to partner up.
Is that right?
Wastewater treatment plants, Civic City.
Yeah.
Rockaway Beach, Garibaldi, Twin Rocks, on cost sharing, just to have, save money on getting our
Yeah.
generators tested. And that fell apart after the first year. Fell apart.
Because
City councils changed,
Yeah.
board members changed, they don't want to pay for it, they don't want to. take
Are
it.
other outfits staffed up?
I think so, for the most part, yeah.
What I was saying is you don't see a lot of ads for wastewater operators in Tillamook County, period. Now, they do a lot of headhunting. We get letters all the time in our personal mail at home from Redmond or somewhere in Gresham or throughout the state, yes, but not Tillamook County.
And I've had a difficult time trying to do cost saving measures. This is basically, there's no cost saving. It's not like I can save 30% off of, a moat charge from Cummins just by partnering up with the other. It just doesn't work, because like I said, you start out that way, and I had 3 different communities that we shared that with. But as the boards change, the superintendents or managers retire, and the council doesn't want to pay for it anymore, or they just want to stop doing the maintenance, and it just, I think they're gonna run into the same problem. 10 years ago, I would put out an ad for a wastewater job, and I would get 150 applications, a lot of it local. Now, I'm lucky to get 4.
In a month,
And I'm lucky,
in a month or two.
in 6 months.
Yeah, the past year.
Well, that was 2 ads.
Yeah.
And both times I got 5. And then you'd be lucky if, you're lucky if 4, if you go to, set up, to interview 5, there's always 1, the last 2 times, that changed their mind and pulled their application. So it's just not, this is why it's a problem statewide with water and wastewater operators, especially wastewater. Nobody, we didn't get that many for office staff applications.
No, not compared to like when I.
Yeah, when Aaron applied, well, a long time ago, we probably had 30 applications. And qualified applications, you would have probably interviewed close to half of them. Now, you're lucky to get 4 or 5, and you're lucky that even 3 or 4 of those will show up.
We can go with our tried and true program, and just in exchange maybe for some extra time off, our employees sign off the rights to their firstborn children.
Mine's almost 18, you can take them.
Yeah, but it's.
Where do we sign?
Yeah.
It used to, when I started doing this 30 years ago, you had to know somebody to get in the field. You had to know somebody. Now, it doesn't matter. And then what you get, if you get outside, and I've gone through this a lot over turnover here, is once you train them and you get them where they go home.
Then they get the letters.
Yeah.
Then DEQ hands out our information to everybody, look.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
And then they
that's-
go
that's-
home.
Yeah, that's why I was imagining trying to recruit early in Tillamook County and have a pathway for them. And
Some
so,
were starting back then questioning my
Doesn't mean-
hiring skills
Yeah,
because I
pick
couldn't
better
keep an
options.
operator more than 2 years. We would hire them in from Lafayette, from Sandy, wherever, certified operators, because you could pick from certified operators then. And they
I
would
just,
stay, get homesick, they'd leave.
I just happen to think this is a beautiful place to live. If you could, you know,
Oh, It's a
provide
great place to live,
solid,
other than there's no housing.
yeah.
You get somebody from out of town, there's nothing.
Well, no, that's why I'm recruiting from Tillamook, right?
And you're required to be within 30 minutes response time. That's not a district policy.
Yeah,
That's a DEQ policy.
Yeah.
So, it's just, everybody's short on employees. I don't care what field you're in anymore.
well, Jerry and I are on the zoning zapper board. And so maybe there'll be some more middle housing, some smaller buildings get built here. We'll see.
So anyway, it's a great idea. We've tried different approaches to that. We even worked with, and I was real excited when Tillamook Community College did it. Because we can get somebody here and send them to college as well.
Yeah.
To get their training. But it was a year or so, maybe 2 years into it, and they finally had to give it up because they just couldn't get enough participation.
Well, we can revisit this when the need arises, I guess.
Well, something we
I just hate to do that, you know. But
well, something you've mentioned in the past, or I think we've talked about, we haven't talked about this yet, and still looking for ideas. I mean, is there such a thing as basically an apprenticeship? We go to the college for someone that's just taking a general skills course or whatever, and we put together some kind of package so that someone come out here on an intern basis. And I know ratepayers can't afford
Through the college.
or recruit or advertise that we've got some kind of,
apprenticeship,
yeah, yes. And should it be salaried, or is it, you know, what's at the end of that rainbow for them? Is there something we can think of to offer them? Is it, I mean, so we get somebody in the door, we're 50% chance we're gonna keep them in the future. Can we get value out of someone while we're training them that makes it worth that 50% of hiring, of keeping them makes it worth the investment? Is there something we could structure that's an experience here for someone that's already going to Tillamook Community College, even though they don't have a program? We have a program where they come out and get some practical skills and we get some value out of them and get our hooks in them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that feasible at all?
No, it's exactly feasible. It's just, you have to get a participant.
But I don't think we've tried that.
I think we could offer what you're saying. One, there'll be a value of it here in a few years if we can get somebody on a couple, 2-3 years before I decide to retire through an apprenticeship program. They can see there's a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow
Yeah.
and what they're working for.
If this is if there's a program, if there's a benefit to them in terms of satisfying some part of their degree requirements, to coming out here and spending.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
To coming out here and spending some, 2 quarters or,
So Lynn Benton College is the one that comes to mind that we should contact for maybe that type of internship. They've been teaching wastewater treatment for decades. If anybody would know at least how to set it up or get you, is there anything for your area?
Yeah.
Do they even have anybody that is enrolled with them, maybe online classes that they can do? I'm not sure.
that implicates the housing problem. That's why I was saying Tillamook.
Right,
community,
right.
A community, someone that's already living in the area.
the reason I brought up the community college is because they're really trying to reach this type of person. I mean, they're spending money and building buildings in order to do this.
And they probably have a person that partners to where we say, we have this idea for a program, we're willing to invest in an experience for students on the off chance that, and while they're here, we'll indoctrinate them to how good it is to work here and give them a good experience, maybe build a relationship that turns into a job down the road. There's a dollar figure I think would be worth it to us. even if it never paid off, the odds are good enough that it's a good investment compared to going a year without being able to hire somebody.
So to set it up internally here, which you've seen for years, I've always had operator slash trainee.
Right.
We can have a trainee line item. It's not gonna be funded like a certified operator would have, but that would give us the opportunity to take that in. And there'd be some compensation, because if someone's gonna drive out here, they're gonna need, you know, gas money, food money, whatever. We could put that line item in. And we don't have to fill it, you know, but that would give us, if that opportunity comes, and we can get this to work, you're already set up to take it.
And we can take that to the community college and say, we're serious about this. We have a line item.
No,
Can we just call it an apprentice program for now?
what I learned is you don't want to just saddle yourself, because what if you do get a trainee? You know, somebody that wants to stay and train or something, but you can name it whatever you want. You could be apprentice slash trainee. That way you have that line item if you decide to hire them on at the end.
I don't know, that just the word apprenticeship sounds better to me than training.
Training implies a commitment.
The-
Apprenticeship is getting,
You're
apprenticeship is in the
getting
trade, a trainee is in the.
If we wanted to explore something like this, I would be happy to go to talk to somebody at TBCC. And I mean, in my mind, I would have to look at the curricula at Lynn Benton's program and just see how much of the sort of basic components of that, if there's a writing requirement or a math requirement or something like that, that they could get at TBCC rather than in Lynn Benton, so that they could do some of it here before they go to Lynn Benton to
So why don't
get the technical
do that?
aspects of
I
it.
will try to put some together, Jerry, you're talking on how to budget that without the ratepayers. And all of that animal.
Mhm.
How we can move stuff around in the budget and make.
And how much insurance would cost.
Well, so if it's an apprentice, normally you don't offer benefits. Well,
That's me.
Yeah, but that doesn't go by, doesn't go by employee.
Oh, yeah.
So if there were,
I
yeah,
got you.
yeah, so they're still covered on. Benefits is where you would start to see the cost to the ratepayers. But if it's a apprenticeship, then you say that gives no, you know, implication that it's a job that you get like training.
It's an enrichment program for their marketability, and hopefully,
Because
working here, we'll see how nice
it does cost us, because we have to supply their safety gear for them. So there's a cost for clothing, a cost for boots, a cost, you know, for all that high vis stuff that they have to go required to have.
I think I still have some of the contacts for the folk rehab program through the VA, which the VA pays for all that. And they also give you a cost of living stipend to make it worthwhile to get people in the industry.
You might get somewhere with Veterans Affairs.
Yeah.
Because they pay for all this stuff.
They also, if at the end of the course, if you don't have a position open for them, the VA takes care of them after that, finds them a location, and then also rehouses them wherever they need to go.
Okay. Well, let's move forward.
Yeah,
And this is the
I
kind
think
of
there's
thing
a
we never have
possibility.
time during a board meeting to discuss. Are you feeling better about?
Totally. I mean, it sounds like we got a plan.
Well, you were giving up and I wasn't giving up, and I'm going to interrupt you. Giving up.
I'll call it the concept of a plan.
Right, the concept of a plan.
A plan to plan.
There you go.
No, I think
You okay
there's
with
some headway on that.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, just like I said, if things just aren't working,
Yeah.
what can we do to
Yeah.
change that?
No, I like it.
Mindset, because if we enough staff is really important to run that show.
Yeah.
Right?
There was a lot of opportunity when logging took a hit a couple decades ago, and mills were shutting down. Everybody was and it was just applications for these jobs were, I mean, this was my 10th application and my, I don't know, 3rd interview. for NOSD, moving from Coos Bay up to here,
Mhm.
relocating. It's just, I haven't seen that in the last almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
So, and now we're, all those guys, gals are tired out.
Mhm.
So there's a void. There's a void.
Hmm.
I think if they got it finished and they got trained, they could go anywhere they want in the state.
John, you had interrupted.
Excuse me?
You were gonna say something.
Well, I was just thinking that, I don't know whether you might call it a practicum or whatever, but it seems like this operation spans a lot of areas, the chemistry, biology, you know, and it's hands-on,
Equipment operating.
you know, mechanical parts of a program and on and on and on. And it seems like it would fit well, maybe not a whole set of courses, but start with a course or two that ties together a number of other things that the student is working on or taking at the junior college. See, you know, they'll come out here and the first thing they'll see is out there. But there's so much more. I mean, what you guys do in the lab and what you're checking, the balances and everything else that goes on, chemistry and biology, you know, the ultraviolet system, as far as what it does.
Technology.
A lot of technology pieces that go into this, you know, and not stress the fact that things smell bad up there in the pools.
Yeah, it's the world's most scenic sewage treatment plant. That's gotta be worth something.
Plus, I mean, it's what they don't appreciate, but it's so true. It's never going to go away.
Yeah, there's a job security.
I mean, job security, yeah, I mean,
When I got into this field, it showed that it was 12% growth a year. That was the
You know.
statistics back in the 90s. It's 12% growth a year for jobs. And there still is growth for jobs. I mean, there's nobody taking it.
so I mean, I think there's definitely opportunity here. You know, now, what was the other college you guys were talking about?
Lynn Benton and
Where is
PCC.
that at?
Corvallis,
Yeah,
Corvallis?
yeah.
Albany, Corvallis.
Okay,
Yeah, Corvallis.
but I mean, the other thing is you talked about Tillamook County, but I mean, what is just south of us, Lincoln?
Lincoln City.
Lincoln
Well,
County.
the county.
Lincoln
County,
County, yeah.
And there's a number of wastewater operations, I'm sure, throughout Lincoln County as you go down the coast. You know, even if you brought two counties together. And the other thing, they're probably useless, but you got that group in the state that gives out awards, and they gave us the award. What are they, water and wastewater?
OAWU.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, think about it. Every state park and federal park has a wastewater treatment plant for their parks. That's where Andrew left and went to work for federal forestry. Because those are all the federal parks. And he maintains
they're all gonna
several
overflow
wastewater.
now.
I mean, they're tiny, but they're all, yeah, they're probably closed. But those are all in the same venue of what we do here.
But where, I mean, where are these people that run that organization? Because you have to be a member, right? And you contribute a fee to be a member of that.
OAWU,
Yeah,
they're out of Independence, Oregon.
okay. So do they know anything that could help us out? Or have they even thought about it?
Well, they lean more, the largest part of their business is water treatment. That's the largest part that they really are into, but they post up for job openings and trainings all the time on their website. For, you know, any area that's, I mean, they posted for our job openings too.
Well,
But I'll tell you what they told me, good luck with your recruitment. It's just, it's not there anymore. But
they're willing to help.
well, yeah, so they get these calls all the time, but yes, they will help you, they'll advertise for you. So it's still a resource to get the word out, whether it's an apprenticeship program. I think they would be a good resource to get that information to.
The last few years, OAWU going to their short schools and going to their speakers, they're having trouble. They're trying to reach out to all the different counties, cities, communities, and trying to come up with their own recruitment to help all these industries, the water and wastewater, and they are running into the same problem that we are.
This is the first time the idea that I've heard of about apprenticeship.
Yes.
This is the first time I've heard that idea.
So
It's
it
quite
would seem
true.
like they should be a supporter of this type of a program,
I think they would.
Yeah,
because it's good for them too.
Heath is the one that's in charge of their wastewater side. I think it's Heath.
Excuse me?
we can look into that. We can check in with OAWU, AWWA.
And I think we should go to the community college and find they must have a vocational counselor.
They do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that we can say, we have this idea. And,
And I forget the name of it. It's technology something.
Mhm.
It's all program that they're investing in.
let's go approach them and say, we're not, usually people are coming to you and saying, you need a program to train people for us. And we think maybe if we can use it, we've got a program that might help you train people.
Yeah.
So, okay, well,
I never thought of an apprentice program.
so that's why you brainstorm.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so we got that. Next,
Outreach.
outreach. And that includes board members and budget people
What do you mean?
for when we do our budget.
So community outreach will make the community aware we're doing budget?
Yeah, and also to get
Pizza.
some extra people to be here to help with the budget.
So, yeah, I'm sorry, so you're talking about create more publicity to get more people interested and involved? I'm sorry, what is,
Well, normally we have 2 or 3 extras during the budget. process.
Yeah.
Well, you're supposed to
we
have
have to.
But we've never
Never.
done five.
I just want to know, is that what you mean by community outreach? Is what are you talking about?
Well, I'm just saying that that's one of the outcomes. The other, is
So-
that we want to make,
Each member of the board recruit 2 or 3, whatever,
yeah, that'd work.
Well, one.
At least
You
one.
need 5, you need 10.
one.
Yeah, 10 is what the max would be. 5 board members, 5.
Okay,
And then,
And
I guess
I thought you were talking about publicity. I thought you were talking about communication.
well, it's all part of it. I mean, if we end up having to increase our rates this year again, I think it would be advantageous to have, a pre-program developed to where we reach out to the community and explain why.
So that's more than just the letter we're sending.
And we've got the community action group now in Netarts-Oceanside. Oceanside,
can we,
numerous groups, Oceanside, right?
can we pull 1 or 2 people that are active in that Netarts organization to be on our budget committee?
That'd be a good idea, be a great idea.
Do we know anybody from Netarts that could act as liaison to those people?
I think right now they're just mainly a board of directors.
I can be,
Okay,
because I'm the ex-chair of
okay.
How many people have they had to their monthly meetings?
30.
Great.
Average. So that's a big deal for Netarts.
So I mean, now tentatively, we have Kent Brown, who has done it for a number of years, but he's gonna be gone by the end of the summer.
Right.
They're going back to live with family back in, I don't know whether it's Iowa or whatever.
Well, so my theory is,
Yeah, you're right. We need to be,
and then
hopefully,
if we did these you know, like have a speaker series. As we're going through the budget process. So that it would allow people to give input. And whether you want it or not, I just don't want to have happen what happened. I don't think, you know, I don't want to go through that. And I don't think, I mean, there's a lot of people in the community that don't want to go there. And the way to get past that is to be open and transparent about what's going on.
But last time, Jim, it was, you didn't get community participation till that facility plan came out
I know.
and it said $12 million on it. Then you got community participation. Angry participation. So unfortunately, what I've seen in this area is before you get participation, you have to stir up some emotions. Usually that's a large amount of money. And it's been quiet all these years because we haven't been doing that. We run it different than we used to. We don't need complete replacement. So how are you going to get them interested?
You got an active audience. They're going to be there. You're going to be there at a meeting anyway. They're looking for people to come in and talk about the community as a whole. So,
So like the community clubs, their monthly meeting or whatever.
So show up and do a presentation.
yeah.
PUD.
Well, get on their, you know, schedule. That's my theory. And if, I mean, if that's something that you guys don't want to deal with, that's fine too.
I would love to see positive community involved a lot more. And Liz, I haven't seen that working to upset them. And we don't want to upset them.
But there are some forums. I mean, the monthly potluck community club, they're usually looking for someone to come in. It would be novel, I think, enough that it would be interesting to people to say, oh, sewer district's coming. And all the.
I gave a quick update the other night at Community Club in Netarts and potluck. People were.
And about the district or?
Yeah. Well, it was about the billing issue that, you know, that
Well, I was thinking
about a
about,
waiting period there.
Oh, right,
I just-
where our system was down when we were getting.
Right, yeah.
there's probably an Oceanside article in there. Budget season coming up or link it to tariffs or something. I could do something.
Well, your newsletter, if you just put a spot in there.
That's what I was
I
saying.
mean, I read your newsletter every morning. So,
People read my newsletter.
They do. People all the way through the whole county.
yeah. I
Amazing.
think I kept up with the hotel going on out here. They couldn't get anything out of county.
Oh, the Tillamook Light Herald reporter gets it and calls me with questions about it.
Rather than to refer, when is our first base meeting for the budget?
April 17th.
Well, you have this.
Yeah, the April board meeting is our very first.
Okay,
Budget committee review.
so let's try and recruit some people to help with that.
Yeah, would need to be done anyway, for sure.
Yeah, I think we have two. I mean, Kent already said if I'm in town, he'd be happy to do it. And I haven't talked to Craig yet this time.
I have
So,
a list.
I know. Yeah,
He's starting to really commit himself.
Excuse me?
He is starting to really overcommit himself.
I know.
Plus, now he's taking golf lessons and not going to meetings because he's golfing. So,
yeah.
I've been working on a friend of mine who's a big time budget guy for the state of California and the state of Oregon. But he said, well,
So Jerry, if we're
We're gonna
gonna
do it.
try to
But I mean, it's
do the Oceanside potluck before
anytime you say
April
budget,
17th, that would be the first Monday. in
They-
April.
they probably have a speaker book. Check.
Who is that?
People,
I don't know, but they schedule that far in advance.
No, but
Oh, Brian Buckman, probably.
Brian.
Yeah. We'll talk about what.
Kent Brown is the president, but Brian does most of it. Actually,
There's something. I
Liz,
just think this is a-
what's her last name? Liz from,
But-
what's Liz from Switzerland or something?
She was a board member, you know.
Elizabeth Wilkerson.
Right, her husband is the guy that does speakers at OCC. I can't think of his name. Dan something. Different last name. Yeah, and I don't even know if they're married.
Well, they're not. Yeah.
Oh, husband.
No, this is her current.
Yeah.
Party, and he's on the board of the OCC. And I
Dave?
think he does speakers.
Isn't his name Dave?
Yeah,
Dave.
I just know him because he shoots turkeys and geese and brings them to.
But if we could each try to come up with one person,
Right.
that would be great. Come back up to 5, which we hadn't had in years.
Jerry, if you could give me a phone number to call somebody, I would call them.
Okay, so that's dealt with, right?
I think so.
So what about the other part of that? You said that we ought to be a presentation, put together a presentation for community clubs or whatever.
Right.
That'd probably be PowerPoint of some sort.
Isn't it PUD puts their board meetings, budget meetings, don't they post that to the Pioneer also?
Sure.
I wonder if we should start, I think so, I think they do, maybe that's someplace we need to start posting for our budget meetings as well.
Notices?
Notices for budget meetings, board meetings, and stuff like that. Maybe that's what PUD.
I think the budget meetings need to be posted, don't they, on,
Yeah,
But he's trying to.
no, but I'm saying other than Headline Herald,
oh,
you could also put them, because the Pioneer gets out to a lot of people.
Yeah.
yeah.
When we had this, spill down there, and more people found out through the Pioneer than they did the Headline Herald, anything else.
Right.
When it all blew up, you know?
Well, back to what you're saying, then, we got 2 venues that we could work with, Netarts, Community Advisory, and
Yeah.
whatever group.
Oceanside Community Club.
So I'll do the Netarts.
I'm gonna contact,
He's doing OCC.
I'm contacting OCC.
And how many months do we do the budget?
So it's April and May, and then you approve it, just the board members approve it.
So are you talking about now getting people for the budget committee
Both,
and also a presentation?
both.
So are you gonna, is the idea that you put together a presentation?
Somebody should.
Okay, you know, yeah,
Right?
Well, if there's a,
Pretty
if,
simple.
when I talk to the folks at OCC, if there's a time slot, I would find out how long that time slot is. It might only be
I'd say
10
like
minutes.
5 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
their time slot is like a half hour to 45 minutes.
If they have somebody else
With-
doing a
with
program, yeah, if they have somebody else doing a program, it might just be a show up and,
Well,
Yeah, they won't schedule 2. I mean, you can do a show up, but
Yeah.
and we could talk about it. I mean, in 5 minutes, what do you have a
This is-
idea of what you're gonna tell them? Or what we're gonna deliver?
I could come up with something pretty quickly.
That'd be great.
You would say,
you just rescued him.
we,
because he
we,
started
we,
panicking.
one, we exist.
So.
You know, when you flush the toilet,
With a nice
something
Still
happens.
still picture of a toilet.
Yeah,
Don't think we exist. They think that
Yeah,
their
and-
water and sewer
Magic.
is all just a neat title.
yeah.
That it's, what, Netarts, what?
They think that they only, when they're paying their water, that they're paying for both when they're not.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, that's.
Yeah.
More prevalent than you think.
Because that's normally what's out there in the
Yeah.
world, right?
Yeah, because in incorporated cities and things like that, that's generally how it's done on most.
Yeah, if you want to put together a quick speech,
5 minutes there's not,
I mean, that would be great.
um,
And then you answer questions.
If somebody wants to put that together, I think the board ought to hear it, and then it goes out. It doesn't go, here's, you do
Yeah.
your own thing,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay.
You agree, Jerry? That the-
Oh, I don't know. I mean, how much controversy can you generate? What are
How
you
much
worried?
what?
What are you worried?
Basically, we're recruiting for budget people, but we're also saying
Well,
we exist.
Well,
We're actually really good at what we do up here.
and that we're in the midst of it, doing the budget.
We're proud of it.
And if you wanted. I mean,
And
are the budget meetings, televised?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there you go.
They can
Every,
do-
every meeting we have, and the link is put on our website.
So
So if that was mentioned to them
Yeah.
too,
there you go.
even if you have a budget committee member that can only have 10 through teams, that's fine.
So take some copies of the schedule and recruit.
Which
Right.
everyone got one.
one of these pages that I just wrote on.
Thinking of a broader presentation, not quite like what PUD has put out, but nevertheless talks about the district and what we're about.
Yeah, one idea was recruit budget committee. The other idea was his idea of trying to be more visible about the fact that fees might go up and try to give some nice warm fuzzy background that news sinks into.
There, I'm even being,
And so far, you're just basically looking at budget committee with a little introduction about what we do.
Yeah.
Just 5 minutes.
perfect.
So and so far, no one's volunteered for or is doing a 45-minute presentation.
No,
on
no.
operations.
Well, we haven't had
Doesn't
much outreach to try to find people to participate.
Yeah.
We can do something in the Oceanside or two.
I'm sure you could come up with 10 people by tonight.
What's Rob doing? We can come, make a budget committee. It's only 2 meetings. And not just for the cookies.
I was gonna say.
He's not good.
That would be, he goes, I make cookies, what more do they want from me?
Yeah.
So come sit here, smile and nod.
It's like, I'm sure we can find some people.
Okay, so
Okay,
yes, we're down to that.
Yeah.
And the very last thing is, the reason I'm thinking about this is, I've been on so many nonprofit boards over the years. And, I'm still on 3, not including us.
you certainly
one of
are a
the things-
nonprofit.
One of the things that best practices is doing the succession plan. So there's somebody that's gonna leave, they let you know ahead of time, there's certain expectations that a person has,
Staff award.
both. Be both. So people don't like doing that. I mean, it's not,
We're not talking about dying. So
well, I know, but I mean, that's,
No, but
hopefully,
people do
I
retire.
still haven't got something
sometimes.
associated with the toilet, but anyway.
yeah, I was gonna say,
so
are you feeling flush?
Yeah.
I don't know, if you guys want to talk about that, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too.
No,
It's just-
no, it's your subject, outline it. What do you want to talk about? I mean, that's not a challenge.
Well, okay, let's say
Fill it
we
in.
have a, there's so many people you gotta, what's the word? If you don't have a quorum,
Oh, yeah.
okay, so all of a sudden somebody gets sick or they gotta move away or whatever, and then you lose your quorum, then you gotta run and find people, So my point is to try to alleviate that kind of
By what?
crazy pressure.
By having backup board members?
Just having enough board members, for instance, to make things work.
We're full, right?
Yeah, we're full.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but I'm not too sure how you do that. Like, for instance, I recruited Elizabeth to be on the budget committee.
Yeah.
Peter,
And then,
Peter came on.
excuse me,
Peter Starkey.
yeah, Peter Stark
Somebody got sent me.
And
to
then
replace
she-
one of them.
agreed to take up the short term of being a board member. So, I mean, it worked out. And I can't tell you how many community club meetings I went to where, oh, there's the sewer guy. He's gonna ask me to be on the budget committee or be on the board. And it was kind of a joke.
Yeah.
A running joke. But I mean, you're right, but I don't know exactly what that plan would be.
Well,
but
when
we
you,
run into people.
when you agree to become a board member, just use board members as an example. One of the things that you've got a list, letter, questionnaire, or whatever you want to call it, but what are the expectations? One of the expectations is that you show up for meetings once a month. The other expectation is, you read minutes before they end. That kind of thing. And also, there's an expectation that if you are a board member and you're going to leave, that your responsibility to find someone to fill your spot, for instance. Or you want to give the board enough time so that they can recruit and fill your spot. It's this kind of standard operating for nonprofit board. Then we don't have any financial stuff that takes place, so that we don't have to even deal with that.
And the conflict of interest.
Yeah. And then as far as staffing goes, that's if somebody's gonna quit, right? It's good to know beforehand so that you can fill that spot.
Okay, just.
And so if you're, you got the same document type of, or expectations of, as a hired staff person here, this is things that, you need to do.
Well, I'm following you with regard to board members, and maybe a nice little thing of expectation to give people as part of recruiting, and say, what's it take or what's it involved? And give them something that's not threatening to summarize what's going on. You just moved over into HR and you lost me. You can't talk to people about forces to give this much notice or find your replacement or any of that. So that once you started moving,
No,
I lost it.
No, Jerry, that's what I said. I mean,
You
what
did.
I said,
You
is
said like
what I
about
said.
how long you could give us before you leave.
Were you just
No,
talking
no.
board members,
I
right?
was talking board members.
Okay, you said, and as far as staffing, and that's
As
where
far as
that's.
staffing goes, if you're gonna leave, it's a good idea to let the supervisor notice that you're gonna quit.
Okay, Well,
I mean,
okay,
that's
go ahead.
where I've been in my work life.
Yeah. You just can't,
It's certainly a good practice, but
yeah, but you can't force it. There's
if
HR.
somebody wants to say, I've had enough, I'm out of here, they're out of there.
So the succession planning I'm most worried about is Dan.
Yeah.
Get there.
Oh, I thought that was where we're gonna start.
I was talking to a community member who knows you, who assumed that you'd retired. And I was like,
That he had retired?
yeah, I was like, no, actually, he's still very much working with us, and we're happy that he is. And she was like, oh, I'm happy too, because he's good. And I was like, yeah, he's good.
Was it Sue?
No. But I am aware that you won't do this job forever. And that at some point, we're going to have to try to figure out how to replace you.
Well, first one is, what's your plan?
So my plan, so that you know, is 67 or 60.
How many years from now?
4.5.
I can ask you that.
3.5 to 10. No, and the board should ask me. But I will always be a resource. I built this place.
Okay, so wait, I'm go back here. 3 or 4 years? Is that what you said? Yeah. Okay, now that's a little more immediate than I thought.
So, well, I'm 60, I'll be 65 this year.
Okay.
And I can't give, I'm telling you at the earliest, if I'm still able to do it, I'm more afraid of being retired than anything else to do. So
Sherry's gonna kick him out of the house.
So's your wife.
Yeah, yeah, so I'm so sure. But the thing is, I'm not ready to leave yet.
Mhm.
I can't tell you when. Could be health reasons, it could be something like that. But I've already assured this staff, and I'll assure the board, even when I'm retired, I'm still a resource. I have all the institutional knowledge,
You do. That's why you'd be hard to replace.
but it's not, and even though I try to pass it on to the staff now, not just Brian, but all of them.
Right.
A
There's stuff,
lot of stuff I don't remember until something
right. I
brings
mean,
it up.
there's a lot of experience that you have
Yeah.
that makes it so that
Yeah.
when something happens, you can respond
Yeah.
based on
But
other
My
experiences. that you've
plan
seen
for the
before.
board is to give you 2 years notice when I expect to retire. And I figure in that 2 years, we should be able to recruit, promote, or something like
Yeah.
that. But we should have somebody on board, whether it's somebody already here or somebody you want to hire, that works with me for at least 1 year.
Like a shadowy thing.
Yeah, so the budget's gonna have to support that because you're not gonna get another person unless you're paying them to do the job.
Right.
But that is my plan. Is that something you guys envisioned?
2 years would be nice from my point of view. And I think if we had 2 years, we could figure something out.
Mhm.
I don't know how the rest of the board feels about that.
Well, I would hope it's generous enough. I mean, people should be 2 weeks. Gone.
No, I said, I don't think it's generous.
But I got a vested interest in the place, more than just a paycheck.
Yeah.
So I could never be on the board because I don't live out there. It doesn't mean that the board can't call me and come to a board meeting, eat something. You already know Brian's gonna call me. Or,
2 for 1.
Yeah.
so,
Got a question?
so anyway, I mean, we have plenty of staff here to choose from, okay? You can recruit outward. That's why I was really intrigued about the apprenticeship thing. That also gives you a chance to kind of sort through
Mhm.
without any commitment.
Mhm.
I never thought about apprenticeship before. That's really got my brain clicking.
Good.
Okay, but I'm not gonna leave the board hanging. So in 2 years, you haven't found somebody, doesn't mean I won't stay on long.
And we're not pushing it out.
So don't be, I'm just trying to, don't be afraid to leave it. I'm not leaving Toma. They'll always be here. Okay.
You're not going to Mexico.
I'm not going I'm probably not in Canada now either, so. But anyway, I want to, you guys, don't worry about the day I leave. Okay? Because I can move that date if needed. I do not want to leave the district short.
And that's great, and that's not surprising, given your ethic.
And the one catch in all of that is health related. We don't know what happens.
And neither do I.
Yeah. None of us do.
No.
It all comes out of the blue.
Yeah, so, I'm anticipating going out anytime soon.
Yeah.
So, but nobody can plan for.
Right. Oh, and there's other health issues that would make it so that you couldn't do your job, but we could still call you on the phone,
Yeah,
you know?
I've come in here with a broken leg on crutches before, not even a kid, remember, when I broke my ankle.
That's why God invented Zoom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, yeah, and I have computers, but, it would not hurt my feelings at all if I was asked to come back for just information. Just to consult, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to consult, if that's what.
Yeah.
Okay, action items. 1, maybe some kind of a document we agree that we give prospective board members that kind of summarizes the job and also expectations in terms of succession planning.
Yeah.
And was there anything more that you wanted to try to nail down in terms of?
Not really.
We went through our agenda.
So the succession plan, one aspect of it is board members.
Right,
And I think you boil it down to expectations about replacement and giving notice.
Okay.
before you
So like that packet that we give all of our board members, we just attach something new saying this.
Plus people that we're trying to get to come on the board, we just give them the letter. We don't give them the packet.
Right, no, but
But
Okay. Expectations.
this is what you're getting into. This, people want to know, and usually you say, oh, it's not that much, you just meet once, and you just give them an oral. It's probably a little nicer to give them something that's a little more structured, it makes us look better too. As long as it's not a threatening job.
But I also suggested, I think this was productive, that we have a couple of these, these workshops. I think that if we could schedule 2 a year, because as you see, things change quickly.
Yeah.
Whoever would have thought a pump would have blown off a bullet.
You know, I'd say tentatively schedule one for 6 months, and it might be, we all agree really that there hasn't been enough change to warrant it, and so then we'll say, okay.
Yeah, you could, you
Yeah.
could treat it like you would a live document.
But I certainly think one a year.
Yeah.
I
I think we should schedule one a year, but 6 months seems like maybe that should be based on need.
yeah.
I was thinking staggering between 2 halfway through 2 fiscal years. Like
Mhm.
this time next year, maybe getting into our next fiscal year, maybe a little sooner than this,
Mhm.
you know, because if we start doing budget April, maybe we should do this in like February. Something. to
Well,
get us-
and we would.
And we tried.
Oh, that's right. That last one was my fault.
No,
Yeah, there was a lot going on that day.
Oh,
That's right. I'm
God.
gonna take the blame of John on this one. Yeah. But I think these are productive, and I think it helps the board, and it helps us know where you guys are at.
Thanks
Yeah.
for,
Good, that
thanks
feels
thanks for pushing
good
for it.
because I,
thanks for pushing for it.
I wasn't sure how,
Yeah.
it's gonna go over, but the thing is that there's a lot of things that just don't have the time in a board meeting to go into depth with and.
I don't want to go back to the old days of board meetings after 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, right.
I'm already here all day, and trust me, when I do want to go home at some point.
I have been very impressed that when we have a board meeting, the staff is here.
Yeah.
I'm just like, holy shit, they've just worked all day and they're here.
Well, they're interested, I'll speak for the staff on this, they're interested to hear what the board thinks.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be interested to hear what they say behind it.
Well, right now, you and Rob are heroes, so you and Rob are in, it's never mind, you're in.
Cookies, right?
Yeah.
Cookies.
You really put something, you're good with staff.
Can we take just 2 minutes and recap what we made, these decisions that were made?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
I don't really remember. That's why I'm saying apprenticeship program.
Yeah, make some calls.
I think was resetting the budget.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
doing it to our auditor
Oh,
to get that. For me, they have to speak with him and figure out what we need to do.
And then after the auditor, there's a conversation with legal on that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, then go ahead.
And all of that happens
If
before.
There'll be a conversation.
In the kitchen. Very good.
Yeah.
that was number one. Number two is,
There was a lot of general discussion. I don't know, Jerry took a lot.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah,
say,
no,
then we went into our treatment plan. This was,
Well, I have budget, because we talked about biosolids disposal. Some of these things, staffing, community college for staff.
I guess action items is what I'm looking for.
so then we have Simeon was gonna reach out to TVC.
Yeah,
And we need to, and we're gonna work on maybe apprentice. Okay, you're gonna, is that to Tillamook?
yeah. I mean, basically, what I want to do is to say, we don't have a plan yet, but we're talking about apprenticeship that would somehow be,
Okay, so that item, the apprenticeship.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, well, he and I were gonna talk about it, and you were gonna do an outreach, so I'm trying
Yeah.
to combine the two.
yeah.
Probably maybe we should talk first.
Maybe you should talk first and,
Yeah, I
because
guess
that's,
good.
and then there'd be something more to say.
And then it's not really decision, but we did an overview of the entire system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was, but. and that-
With,
that was it.
with some discussion along the way of where the priorities might be in terms of stuff we need to pay attention to in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Which was really useful, by the way.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Okay, then,
And then also documents for prospective board members.
okay,
And I'm also doing some outreach to OCC and you're doing outreach
do
to,
Oceanside, I mean,
for
I'll do
budget members.
Netarts and you do Oceanside.
I'm doing Oceanside.
He's doing Oceanside, I'll do an Oceansider thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it, right?
I'll get a.
Oh, we
next
got
couple of
pizza,
weeks-
we decided pizza.
Yeah, we
next
decided.
couple of weeks, I will get a draft budget put together with the premise in there,
Good.
and then we can, that way it'll give you a starting point, what to look at.
Yeah.
And I'll try to put some initial numbers in there, just so that it's shock to your system.
I'd like to brainstorm also like substance. What does it look like, the position? What's the apprenticeship position? I think, yeah,
And I'm-
probably.
I'm waiting.
About that.
I'm waiting on outreach to TBCC until I hear from you
My
guys.
brain
Yes.
right now is wired more towards writing something for training.
Yeah.
/ operator. Apprentice is I don't think it's impossible, but it's
Yeah.
it's not in my.
I would recommend that Ryan come too.
Okay.
And we do a little brainstorming about, elements of the job and where an apprentice might, come in and fit and feel.
I'm happy to be part of those conversations if you want me to be.
Well, the apprentice, what is he gonna ship on? I mean, teaching them
That's what I mean.
everything, selections, treatment.
Let's talk about it.
biology, lab stuff. What do you envision that the apprentice would be?
Yeah, and as part of what,
But I think
how would it, with something they're already doing.
One of the
it
things,
needs to
Oh, yeah.
slide to programs that they got
Exactly.
as being part of it.
yeah, one of the things I will do in the meantime is to take a look at Lynn Benton's and PCC's curriculum, just so that I know what the requirements are and can think in my academic way about, okay, now which ones of those requirements might somebody be able to do at TBCC? How much of that? Because I don't know, you've been through it more recently than I have, but I don't know. To get the certification.
15 years ago.
Unless,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to look at it from the angle of, okay, what kinds of opportunities are here? What, shadowing somebody on their job during the day or assisting with a particular set of functions and in the assisting learning. I don't know what those things are yet, and don't think you've thought about it in that framework, but I think you, as having gone through a training program, probably can relate to it from that side.
Right,
But, what is there about this place that you coming in knew? The learning of it, what stuff was kind of fun or engaging? What wouldn't be? And then fit that in with personnel considerations. And see what comes up. Would this be a halftime thing? Would this be 3 days a week? Would this, fit into a course schedule? So we have to start
Their
somewhere.
apprenticeships could be something as small as just a few hours a day doing certain things that we do that associates with whatever they're going to school.
They could take us, like safety, for instance.
Well, plus
Learn
the
how to-
camera.
How to
That's
fly.
going to fascinate somebody. The camera work.
I think that's actually my favorite part about
Yeah.
the job out in the field. And I love running.
Well,
the
I was thinking too, state parks, federal parks, their people do more than mow lawns. They also run water and sewer treatment area, especially sewer. Even out here at State Park, down here has a small sewer treatment area.
So identify things that you do that are kind of generic to the position.
Right.
So if you learn it here, you're probably gonna be able to transfer it to other places.
Maintenance, anybody that's getting into maintenance type of.
I like the maintenance stuff. I grew up during
Okay, well, let's
wrench.
schedule some time to get together. Doesn't have to be too onerous, but start putting it on paper to see what it looks like. So that there's something to go to community colleges with. Say,
Yeah.
what do you think? And,
Yeah.
And I can talk to the VA too.
Yeah,
that's
the
all it's
VA
worth.
angle's a really interesting angle.
So
They actually
we want
offer the
to
best program.
continue talking while we eat, but it's
I think we're at a natural ending point.
Okay, it's,
sort of 5 more minutes.
I don't know, generally satisfied with what we decided to be our goals as a result of the workshop.
Yeah.
And if that's so, it's 4:25 and we'll conclude the workshop.
Great.
And start recording.
Doesn't mean you can't still talk.